AITA for refusing to inherit the family farm and giving it to my younger brother instead? I, 36M, grew up on a big farm that belonged to my family, who have been farmers for generations. To my parents' great disappointment, I hated farm life from a very young age. I never liked dirt or mud, and farm animals were never my thing either. So, to no one's surprise, I left the farm when I turned 18 and never looked back. I currently live in a big city. I still care a lot for my family and visit the farm from time to time, but I'm always happiest when I return to my urban lifestyle. My mother passed away 3 years ago, and 2 months ago, I unexpectedly lost my father due to a work accident. This left my younger brother Tom, 30M, and me as the only beneficiaries of their estate. I didn't expect to be left with much since my parents helped me financially more than enough while they were alive. Honestly, I only wanted a couple of family mementos to keep as keepsakes. But to my surprise, when my brother and I sat down with the attorney to discuss our father's will, we discovered that I was left with the majority of the farm, about 3/4, while Tom was left with the rest. The only reason I can imagine behind this decision is that, unlike Tom, I have two kids, 10M and 7F, so maybe that's why I was given the bigger share. But I'm not entirely sure since my kids also had their own inheritance in the will. Either way, this split of the inheritance is ridiculous since, unlike me, Tom actually lived on the farm and dedicated his entire life to working on it alongside our parents. I saw that Tom was also shaken by the decision, so I reassured him that I found it absurd as well and that I didn't mind forfeiting the land to him. Tom said I didn't have to do that, but I insisted. After some back and forth on the topic, we mutually agreed to settle this between ourselves at a later date, when everything would be transferred under our names as our parents intended. I recently informed my wife Jules, 35F, of my decision regarding the inheritance, and she's furious with me for wanting to give most of it away. She argues that my decision is impulsive and short-sighted since the farmland is worth a fortune, and I'm just giving it away without a second thought. I told her that the land is only worth a fortune to those who actually intend to do something with it, and since I neither intend to sell it nor farm it, it's effectively useless to me. Jules continued saying that it might be useless to me, but I should think about our kids who might want to start farming one day. I told her that in that case, I'll only transfer half of the land to Tom, so our kids could have 1/4 of the land at their disposal in the hypothetical scenario they decide to get into farming one day. Now Jules isn't speaking to me until I reconsider my decision. I need to hear some unbiased opinions to see if I'm in the wrong here. Top voted comments. Response 1. NTA. I may be way off, but it sounds like your wife saw a load of money slip from her fingers and she's angry rather than seeing this situation for what it is. You wanted nothing to do with the farm, but your brother has been there his whole life taking care of it. The split, at the very least, should have been 50-50ths. I think the scenario your wife mentioned about your kids growing up and wanting to start farming is a stretch. You live in the city, and they're growing up with an urban lifestyle. I don't know your kids, but I don't think they're eager to start living that farm life. If she's that worried, keep 1/4 like you mentioned. Response 2. NTA. It's your inheritance, not Jules. You should do what you feel is right. And while she's free to have an opinion on the topic, she's being an asshole. She's also full of crap about the farming. She just wants the money. Response 3. NTA. You're correct. Unless the farm is sold, or unless you want to work it, it's not worth much to you. Sounds like your wife was hoping you'd take what's yours, cash out, and she'd have a nice payday. It's your inheritance. She's not entitled to a single penny. Just in case your kids suddenly want to start farming, consider doing what you planned and leaving 1/4 for them. My sense is she had big plans for that money. It's similar to when someone leaves a mortgage-free home to two parties, and one of them buys the other out to keep the property. You're doing the right thing by your family. It's yours. Do with it whatever you want.